Dorothy Smith is a living sociologist in the North American society, and she has contributed to the development of sociology over here. We see that her approach is a feminist kind of approach. She has given a feminist standpoint theory. And before we look into that theory, the background of the theory is that we have two distinct sexual categories of the human beings, and we call them males and females. And this male and female is there and necessary for the continuation of the progeny, for the reproduction of the human beings. Now, these differences are assumed to carry into their natural gender roles in society. So this male and female not only reproduce, they perform number of other responsibilities, number of other roles. So whatever is reproduced, that has to be processed, that has to be groomed, that has to be looked after the child. Now, these roles have again been, let's say, specified that these are for the men, these are for the women. More like a situation where men are in a dominant kind of position, whereas women are in subordinate position. So we see that leadership roles are more associated with males, whereas subordinate roles are associated with females. So that's the patriarchal kind of approach. So even if these women move out of the family and join the labor force, and wherever they are, let's say, given different positions, those positions are subordinate to the men. So these, I think, male and female roles which are there in the family, those are also found outside the family at the workplaces. So men are the, let's say, decision makers. They are the rulers, whether that is a family situation or out of the family situation, whether that's the micro level or at the macro level. Although we see that the roles which are associated with men and women are created by the society, are, let's say, constructed by the society. Otherwise, except for reproduction, whether it's male or female, they can, let's say, play the roles of each other, and they do play, and we see all this kind of things happening in society. So what Dorothy is considering is that when these women are working in the labor market, in an organization, they are mostly given positions of subordination, and they have to perform the same kind of situations where they have to, let's say, support the leaders, support the boss, look after the activities on which that boss is dependent. And also they might be given the positions of secretaries, computer operators, nurses. They are supportive, although their support is very necessary. The whole system might be dependent on each other's support. Now, these women have different experiences. So they have a bifurcated kind of consciousness experienced by women. So one, they have their own experience. How do they, let's say, handle the situation? And the other is lived experiences. This might be considered as lived experiences of the women in this particular situation, and which might be traced back to their grooming in earlier life. And the other is that they have to adjust to the official definition of the social word as established by the male. Since this is a male-oriented kind of society, so they have to comply with the demands of that society. So they, as a secretary, for example, they have to look after all those things which are necessary for the functioning of that's the position of the boss. So we see that these are formalized, these are expectations, these are requirements. So these women have to submit to whatever is the word asking them to provide or to operate or to way they have to perform their roles. So they have their lived consciousness, they have their lived experiences of in the subordinate positions, and then what are the demands of that? How do they cater to those demands? So that is how she looks at that in her theory of feminism.